Okay, this is again about author, illustrator. And this is by Peter Reynolds. So he wrote this wonderful story about a little boy who loved to draw. And it's called Ish. His name is Raymond, and Raymond loved to draw. Anytime, anything, anywhere. One day, Raymond was drawing a vase of flowers. His brother Leon leaned over his shoulder. Leon burst out laughing. "What's that?" he asked. Raymond could not even answer him. He just crumpled up his paper and threw it across the room. Leon's laughter haunted Raymond. He kept him from trying to make his drawings look right, but they never did. Oh, he kept trying to make his drawings look right, but they never did. After many months and many crumpled up sheets of paper, Raymond put his pencil down and said, "I'm done." Marisol, his sister, was watching him. "What do you want?" he snapped. "I was watching you draw," she said. Raymond sneered. "I'm not drawing. Go away." Marisol ran away, but not before picking up the crumpled up sheet of paper. "Hey, come back here with that." Raymond raced after Marisol, up the hall and into her room. He was about to yell, but fell silent when he saw his sister's wall. He stared at the crumpled up gallery. "This is one of my favorites," Marisol said, pointing. "That was supposed to be a vase of flowers," Raymond said, "but it doesn't look like one." "Well, it looks vase-ish," she exclaimed. "Vase-ish?" Raymond looked closer. When he studied all the drawings on Marisol's wall, he began to see them in a whole new way. "They do look ish," he said. Raymond felt light and energized. Thinking ishly aloud, his ideas to flow freely, he began to draw what he felt, loose lines quickly springing out without worry. Raymond once again drew and drew the world around him, making ish drawings felt wonderful. He filled his journals, tree-ish, house-ish, boat-ish, afternoon-ish, fish-ish, sun-ish. Raymond realized he could draw ish feelings too. His ish art inspired his writing. He wasn't sure if he was writing poems, but he knew they were poem-ish. One spring morning, Raymond had a wonderful feeling. It was a feeling that even ish words and ish drawings could not capture. He decided not to capture it. Instead, he simply savored it. Raymond lived ishfully ever after. So, this story is all about a little boy who loved to draw and got made fun of. Then his little sister took all those crumpled up drawings and hung them on her wall in her bedroom, and he realized those do look pretty good. So today we're going to do an ish painting. So you have a piece of paper, just like Raymond did. I just want you to wad it up in a ball and lay it on your scrap paper. We are going to paint a paper wad. So with watercolor, you have to have obviously a brush and a cup of water. And the thing about watercolor is you have to get your colors wet first. So you have to go through and put water on all of your colors. And you want them to soak for a minute. So if you did this project with your kids, it may not work, but you can tell them to get all of their colors wet and then lay their brush down and listen to the story if you think they would do that. So as long as you think they can just let it set, it's good for watercolors to set and just soak up all that water so that it's ready to paint with. How many of you have painted with watercolors before? How many of you felt like you had to dig at the color to get anything to come out of it? That's just because you have to let it get wet. And then you just simply paint with the water that's floating on top. It's not about scraping paint out of it. It's about painting with water that's floating on top of the color. So, the next thing you're going to do after you let it set for a few seconds is start painting your paper wad. And each time you dip into a color, if you want to change colors, you need to dip into your cup of water and swish your brush around a little bit before you move on to a new color. If you don't, then you'll start mixing all the colors together and it won't look as good. One thing kids tend to do in my class is they want to do that, but the problem is it spatters on people and people's projects. So try to teach your kids just to wipe the brush on the edge of the cup. And you can just go through and put lots and lots of paint on your paper wad. And if you use watercolor paper, which I did here, it absorbs the paint. And I don't think this drawing paper is going to, but we'll see. We'll still get the same effect and you'll have the idea that you could do with your students. I think kids would love this. In fact, some of my junior high kids were watching me because I was practicing at school and getting ready, and they were like, do we get to do that? And I was thinking, this is for elementary, but maybe I will do it with them. Yeah, the color's not sticking to this paper very well, but I think we still get the general idea. When I painted this one, I really pushed, I tried to soak a lot of color into it. In fact, I don't know if you want your students to do this, but you can actually load up your brush with color and then squeeze it onto the paper wad. So just fill it up with color. If you want me to, Thursday I can bring you some watercolor paper if you want to try this again and just see how it turns out. I forgot to tell you, put your names on your paper. How it is when you're teaching, you'll realize, oh my goodness, they're all wadded up and wet and none of them have names on it. But an alternative is we have scrap paper. You can write your name on your scrap paper. So if you don't want to take it home today and you just want to set it in the back of the room, leave it on your scrap paper and then you can take it with you Thursday. And like I said, I can bring some more watercolor paper because it works really well with the watercolor paper. You can turn it off now. Thank you.